Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravana Chari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravana Chari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Nitai Gauranga Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Jaya, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jagadguru. Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, Jaya. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada, Vaishnav Thakur Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada, Patit Pavan Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, Jaya. Jaya Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada. Bhakti Vedanta Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Bhakti Vedanta. Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Astotar Shri Shrimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhayacharanarvindam Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya, BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Astotar Shri Shrimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Chaitamrita Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Kalachanji Ki Jai. Shri Gaur Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody. Today's celebration of the holy disappearance of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Tir Bhav Mahati Ki Jai. So please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and by the sweetest graces of my spiritual master, my darkened eyes were opened with the salve of love in the form of transcendental knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances, gratitude, and homage to him. Vanchakalpa Turubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhya Vaishnavebhya Namo Namaha. Let us offer our respectful obeisances upon all Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, for they can fulfill desires of everyone, for they are full of compassion for all fallen conditioned souls. Jai Radhe. Hare Krishna. So today is in many ways for us in the Hare Krishna movement, a very foundational day. And the reason it is so foundational is that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur altered the system, changed the system of initiation. Prior to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and even when he was doing initiations for a time, I think he never did that initiation. There was what we call the Babaji initiation system, where what would happen was that the day you got initiated, you were told who you were in the spiritual world, and that it was your service then to live your life according to that person's nature, like that. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur considered the people of that time to be unqualified for that type of initiation. People would not understand what it means. They would act in a way that was not correct. So he changed it to Harinam Diksha, where when you get your initiation, you were given the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And by the process of chanting, one would come to the realization of who one was in the spiritual world. And then one would become fixed in what is called the Siddha Pranali, which is our service based on our nature, our eternal nature. So, it is said that the most powerful experience of the Ganga is at the Gangotri. The Gangotri is where the Ganga originates. That's where it first came onto earth, when Lord Shiva held this very powerful torrential river that would have actually split earth because it was so powerful. He actually held it on his head, had it hit his head so that he could break the fall. And then it fell onto planet Earth, and planet Earth became glorified and purified. And we all got the benefit of actually becoming purified as well. So in the same way, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur did the same thing. He actually originated this system of Harinam Diksha based on Harinam, like that. So today is a very, very important day for us to pray to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur so that that holy name will have an effect on us. Because my problem, I will say, I'm sure some of you resonate with my problem. My problem is that I cannot focus on the holy name as much as I should. I'm not chanting Shuddhanam. I'm chanting Namabhas at best, and mostly it is Namaparad. My mind is running here and there, this service, this to do, that to do, and I'm still chanting the holy names of the Lord. You know, I have my hands in the bead bag, but actually I'm doing other things at the same time. Right? So this is offensive to the holy name, as it says when you come to the 10th offense, that it is an offense to be inattentive while chanting the holy names of the Lord. The value for us, the benefit of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is that for most of us, he is our great-grandfather. For some of us, he is our grandfather. Those of us who are disciples of Srila Prabhupada, for them, he is the grandfather. But for those of us who are disciples of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, he is our great-grandfather. Now, the grandfather and the grandchildren have a very special relationship. In that relationship, the grandchildren get away with a lot. That's why grandchildren like being at the grandparents' home. Because the grandparents allow them, liberality, to be liberal to the extent that sometimes it's a fault. And the parents have to sometimes tell their parents, please don't do that. Makes it hard for us to bring up our children. But they cannot say that to the great-grandfather. The parents can say that to their father, but they cannot say that to their grandfather. The grandfather has that power, that the grandfather can do things that are totally unusual. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was on the planet, 40 years in the preaching process, he said, I have not yet met one devotee in my life. Of course, he's not including his spiritual master, his own father, etc. He's talking about when he's preaching. And where was he preaching? He was preaching in the Dham. The Dham is supposed to be full of devotees. There's nobody else but devotees in the Dham, right? The Dhamvasis are born devotees. And yet, he said famously, I have not met one devotee yet. This is how strict he was in his interpretation of what a devotee is. And we're very fortunate that he is our great-grandfather. And we can pray to him to bless us that we will become devotees. That we will become nice disciples of our spiritual master and nice grand-disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And do what they really wanted us to do. So today I'm going to read a little about him and then focus on what he really wanted us to do. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, born into the renowned Gaudiya Vaishnava lineage, played a pivotal role in revitalizing Lord Chaitanya's teachings during a critical period of spiritual decline. his birth, upbringing, education, and eventual ascension to the revered position of a sannyasi marked by divine interventions and a dedication form a remarkable narrative that continues to inspire millions. As you know, when Rath Yatra was happening and Lord Jagannath's cart was going by his house, his father brought him out that he might get a blessing from the deities. And what happened? Lord Jagannath's cart stopped right where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was, and his garland came off him and onto Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. If that's not a sign, what is? I mean, imagine this garland just flew out, right? Somebody has to pick it up and put it on someone, right? It won't just, it flew out and came on this gentleman here. Everybody will know this must be some exceptional person, right? And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was only 5 years of age at that time. Very young boy, right? So this indicates how powerful a personality he is. In fact, he is actually a ray of Vishnu. Everything about him, every part of him, every speech, every talk he gave, every book he wrote, every article that he wrote is pregnant with pure love of God. Pure love of God. Anyway, if you go online, you'll read about his early life and spiritual upbringing, his initiation and spiritual attributes. I'm going to move on to something else. His establishing the Gaudiya Math temples, his spiritual vision and revolutionary ideas. This is something we all need to catch on to. Devotees are meant to be revolutionary. Revolutionary means doing things in a way that is so powerful that people think that when they meet a devotee, they're meeting a movement, not just one person. The devotee seems like a whole movement. That much energy the devotee carries, spiritual energy. His challenges and victories, he had a lot of challenges. All devotees have a lot of challenges. The more challenges you have, the more devotee you are. You should understand that. Because this world is a world of challenges. This world is Kalir Doshanidhe Rajan. It's full of challenges. How are we ever going to help somebody with their challenges if we don't experience challenges and come through those challenges like a phoenix rising from the ashes? We don't do that, we're never going to be able to help anybody else. This world is all about not being Krishna conscious. Everything about this world is designed to do only one thing, and that is to take you away from Krishna. That's how this world is organized. And it has a very powerful leader. Mother Mahamaya, Maya Devi. She's very powerful. She's so powerful, the whole creation cannot fight her. She can single-handedly defeat the whole creation. She can even put people like Brahma into illusion. This is how powerful she is. Who is Brahma? Brahma is Deva Deva. Deva Deva means the God of gods. Not just God, but the God of gods. Lord Shiva, who is not even Jiva Tattva, Shiva Tattva, she can put him into illusion. This is how powerful Mahamaya Devi is. So devotees have to be very strong. And the strength comes when we face challenges. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. That's how life works. We shouldn't pray like Mother Kunti did for problems, because we're not so strong. But actually, whenever we have problems in our lives, we should feel very happy. We should celebrate. Because that problem, if we face it head on, deal with it, it'll make you stronger. It's just like, the athletes when they want to do weightlifting. How do they do weightlifting? They lift a weight gradually heavier than the weight that they can bear. And what happens? Now they can lift that weight easily too, right? Then they go to the next level, next level, next level. That is our life. Our life is to go to the next level of trouble, the next level of problems, the next level of problems, until you become temple president. I'm not temple president, so I'm simply saying, then you really learn what a problem is. The smartest people join the Hare Krishna movement. You have to be very intelligent to understand this philosophy and to practice this philosophy. But one of the difficulties with intelligent people is overintelligence. So now you're dealing with people, you're trying to lead people who are smarter than you. How are you going to do that? That's threading the impossible. So then you learn. You learn a lot when you practice that. Then you learn what to do, what not to do, how to be very humble, always very humble, and always very personal. Understand, everybody is a child of God. That they don't like you, that they oppose you, that they see things that are insulting to you is not their problem. It is not your problem either. It is the material world. If you're in the sea, you're going to get wet, right? You can't say, why am I getting wet? You're in the sea, you're going to get wet. In the world, you're going to have problems. And the victories that come with that, challenges and victories, both. The victories allow you to become confident. Because when you win, you become confident. Yes, I can do this. Innovations in preaching. This is something very important for us in the Hare Krishna movement. In many ways, we have stopped innovating. We stopped taking risks. Prabhupada took a lot of risks. What is an example of some risks that Prabhupada took? Very heavy risk that he took. And today, Hare Krishna is reeling from that risk. Can somebody name some risks Prabhupada took? Came to a Western country, yeah. Western people are very mentally strong. They're very mentally strong people. So, when you're mentally strong, it's very hard to control the senses and to do things, right, in a way that creates a lot of cooperation. Okay, what else? He accepted sannyas. Others had done it also. What were the Ritviks he said? Or the Ritviks are taking over now? Yeah, so maybe. Yeah, but he did not create that one. He did not. No, he didn't have to deal with Ritviks. He never had to deal with any Ritviks. Huh? Sorry? He struggled a lot, yeah, but a lot of other people struggled too. He did something that nobody had done before that. He gave for women, yes. He initiated women. Right? He gave Brahmin to Malachas, yeah, well, yeah. But there were Malachas in India as well. So I wouldn't say, the only Malachas were outside India. But yeah, women, nobody initiated prior to Prabhupada. There were people who did that very early in the piece, but for a long time, it wasn't so. And today we have the female Diksha issue right now, right? People don't know how to deal with it now. It's become a big issue for the GBC, how to deal with it. I know that because I was there myself dealing with it. So my point is that, but he innovated in that way. What did that innovation create? What happened as a result? When he initiated women, what happened? What would you say is one of the benefits of him initiating women? Yes, we found expert managers, right? Krishna says, amongst women, I am intelligence. Women are more intelligent than men. You have to accept that. Men don't like to hear that. I don't like to hear that. But it's a fact. You see what I'm saying? So as a result, the movement spread faster around the world. Prabhupada actually said his women disciples were the best disciples. When they would go out on book distribution, he would say, they're the ones who will be able to distribute more books. And initially we saw in Dallas, who was the biggest book distributor? It was Mother Indranila Mani. Amaraji. Right? But that's innovation. But what did his God brothers say? You made a big mistake. I remember he actually said that, they said that, he made a big mistake. But Prabhupada's own disciples sometimes felt that women should not be given managerial positions, correct? So when I became temple president here, I appointed some of the women to become vice presidents of the temple, right? And so I remember one of the sannyasis came to this temple and he said, this temple is finished. Now that you have women on the board, this temple is finished. What happened? Went the other way. Temple did much better. We're a great temple in many points. I'm not saying that because I'm temple president. I'm not the temple president. I'm saying that because it's a fact that Dallas is considered one of the better temples around the world. So this is innovation, right? But we don't take risks like that. We think if Prabhupada didn't do it, I'm not doing it. We play the safe road. Nothing wrong. Please play the safe road. It's better than innovating in the wrong way. But innovating in the right way is very necessary, because that keeps us fresh. It keeps us current with what's happening in the world, so that we can deal with it and people can find solutions, and then we can make progress. Then legacy and departure. He left a legacy. What a legacy he left, right? Today, we're all here because of him. And of course, his departure. And departure is what I wanted to talk about today. Because today is his Tir Bhava, the departure celebration. So he famously said something at the time of his departure. He said, if I could perfectly deliver even one soul back home, back to Godhead, I would think my mission, propagating Krishna consciousness, to be successful. This is saying while he's leaving his body. Can you imagine the humility of this person? He delivered so many people, right? One of the best of whom is sitting right here. And as a result of whom we are sitting right here. Right? But this is humility. This is something that's not very easy to imbibe in our lives, because somehow we always think, I am smart. But actually we know nothing about anything. And that's the real fact. The person who knows is the Supreme Lord, and then the acharyas who actually repeat what the Supreme Lord is speaking, right? That is why it's called transcendental knowledge. Why is it transcendental? It transcends humanity. Humans cannot understand knowledge which is called transcendental knowledge. The acharyas can, because they go beyond human. Their relationship with the Lord has gone beyond human. It's become totally spiritualized, so they can understand, and then they can tell us, and we can hear. That's why we say, Om Jnanatimirandasya. I was born in the darkest of ignorance. And it's by the sweetest graces of my spiritual master that my darkened eyes were opened with the salve of love in the form of transcendental knowledge. That is why we offer that prayer. So then, on December 23rd, 1936, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur Prabhupada gave his final instructions to the assembled devotees and left his body. Again, you can go online and read those final instructions. They were all together. I'm going to focus on, again, what he said right at the end. At the time, he actually gave the devotees 46 instructions. This is not an ordinary passing. This is way beyond extraordinary passing. You should read every one of those 46 instructions, because that's what's going to help us move forward. For the sake of time, I'm going to go straight into the final of those instructions, not the 46. After he spoke the 46 instructions, he spoke 3 more. Okay? If you think about it, everything about Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was scientific. Nobody knew the system of astrology as well as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Nobody knew so much about the sciences as much as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In fact, he was so powerful scientifically that he even spoke English scientifically. And English professors had to keep a dictionary next to them to be able to understand what he was saying. That's how powerful his English was. I mean, language becoming scientific, that's something new, right? Language is normally an art. It's not a science. But he made even language science. That's how powerful he was. So he spoke the 46 plus 3, which equals 49. And 49 is 7 times 7. 7 is the number of completion. he completed seven times to make sure it was complete. Then the final 3 instructions he gave are so important to us. If we remember these 3 instructions, you will go back to Godhead. These are the 3 instructions he gave. And Prabhupada summed those 3 instructions up in one word. This was Prabhupada's greatness. I'll speak that one word as well. How did he summarize that? 3 instructions in one word. The 3 instructions he gave was, the first instruction he gave was, let me go back to my notes again. Okay, the first was, do not try to be a hero. Simply try to be a speck in the hands of the spiritual master. First thing we should understand about life is I know nothing about anything. My spiritual master knows, and I am going to do what my spiritual master asked me to do. You're in safe hands with the spiritual master. Be a speck. Speck means like a particle of dust, right? That's called a speck. It's like I'm wearing spectacles. Sometimes specks sit on the specks, and then I can't see properly. So I have to wipe it to remove the specks so I can use the spectacle. Right? So the first thing is that in our lives, we are taught to become heroes. I should be recognized for something. Forget recognized for something, I should be recognized. Nobody recognizes me. Nobody cares about me. The world sucks. Everything sucks. I wish I was dead. Right? This type of feeling goes through in our minds and hearts, particularly the mind, not the heart, the minds. This is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. That we're in Kali Yuga is already bad enough, right? It's the worst of the ages. Srimad Bhagavatam clearly says, very clearly in black and white, anybody born in Kali Yuga is born all bad. What does all bad mean? All bad, right? No good. We don't have anything. That is why initiation means the rebirth. It's called a rebirth. Why is it called a rebirth? Because we're being born again, this time with the correct knowledge. This time with the correct knowledge. So yes, our system is also Siksha, not just Diksha. So if you don't have Diksha, at least take Siksha from somebody. Janeshu Vigneshu, it is said in the scriptures. Janeshu Vigneshu means I should try to find a person who can tell me about Krishna consciousness. I should try to find a person who can tell me about Krishna consciousness. Janeshu Vigneshu. That is the first aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra. Atharto Brahma Jigyasa. That means Janeshu Vigneshu. Find a person who can tell you what is the Supreme Absolute Truth. The Supreme Absolute Truth is Krishna himself. We won't go into that science deeply, but the idea is don't try to be a hero, simply try to be a speck in the hands of that person who is advising you. Then you will be able to do the same things, just like, we have tools, right, that we carry with us. Like here's a tool that I carry with me, right, in my hand. But it does what I want it to do, right? It doesn't just walk off my hand and then decide, it's going to go and stand in front of the deities and pray to the deities and tell it, I'm a smartphone. So it doesn't do that, right? It only works how I want it to work. Sometimes it does autocorrect me without me telling it to. So then I have to autocorrect the autocorrect, right? But the point is it mostly does exactly what I tell it to do. So we have to be like that. We have to be like tools in the hands of our spiritual master. The second, he says, always take shelter of Harinam and Harikatha. Always take shelter. We should always be chanting the holy names of the Lord. Even when we're eating. Prabhupada said the way to eat is to put the food in your mouth and chant Hare Krishna while you're eating. Then you swallow it. Then you take the next one, you put in your mouth and you chant Hare Krishna while you're eating. You should always chant Hare Krishna. Why? Because Hare Krishna is the Supreme Lords themselves. It's Radha and Krishna, Radha and Kalachandji. Lord Balaram, Lord Nityananda, Lord Gauranga, with us all the time. Lord Jagannath, Lord Baladev. And Harikatha. Harikatha means pastimes of Krishna. Not just Krishna's pastimes, but the pastimes of his devotees. This is called Harikatha. When you hear Harikatha, what it does, it makes your heart and particularly your mind understand this is real. This is not some type of a conspiracy. This is something real. And I can also be participating in this type of katha. I can be inside that katha. In fact, the idea is to hear it scrutinizingly, which means that you should be thinking you're in the Leela yourself and you're witnessing everything that's happening in the Leela. This is called scrutinizing reading when we read the Bhagavatam like that. So for us, we are called the Hare Krishna movement. Why? Just so that Prabhupada knew that we're not very intelligent. So if we call ourselves the Hare Krishna movement, then you'll know this movement is about Hare Krishna. Please chant Hare Krishna. And please encourage others to chant Hare Krishna, because that is the process of this age. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam. Kalo nasteva 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 gatirinita. Om Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti sodashakanam nam kalikalmashu nato paratarapayaha sarva vedeshu drishyate. All scriptures say this is the only way, this is the highest process to chant the holy names, and then all of the kalamasha. Kalamasha means everything that is going to hurt you, that's going to pull you back, that's going to stop you in any way, will be completely destroyed. Nashanam. Nashanam means so destroyed that you can't even think about it, can't even remember, let alone seeing a part of it. When you destroy something, at least you see its part, right? But Nashanam means you can't even remember it, forget, see its part. That's how much it will get destroyed. And this is where it is very important for us, before we hear the third instruction, that we should always be very personal with the deities and the devotees. Understand that the deities are people. Kalachandji is standing there. We should feel, oh, my dear Kalachandji, you must be very tired. Your feet must be paining. 24/7 you're standing like this. You know, you don't get to sit down and lie down like we do, right? Try to stand for, let's just say 6 hours in a row. Just stand for 6 hours. You'll notice what will happen to your feet. They get very tired. They get painful. But why wouldn't Kalachandji's feet get tiredful? He's not a person. He gets tired too. So shouldn't we say to him, Kalachandji, please let me massage your feet. Mentally, let me massage your feet so that I can relieve you of some of that pain. That's personal. When we're addressing the deities, we take a lot of personal attention, pay a lot of personal attention. Prabhupada, when he was addressing the deities, his hands would shake. There was nothing wrong with his hands. His hands would never shake. But when dressing the deities, his hands would shake. That's how careful he was when he's dealing with the deities. They're people. Every one of the deities is a person. Prabhupada here is a person. How many times we hear stories, somebody came to the temple, they spoke to Prabhupada, Prabhupada spoke to them. Prabhupada moved. He showed a different form. Different things he's been doing. He's a person. It's not just a murti sitting there. He's an archa vigraha. He's a person. Now, at least let's deal with people as persons, right? We don't even deal with people as persons. We tend to deal with them like, I have to tell them something, I have to do something, and they don't matter, I matter. No, I don't matter, they matter. You don't matter. Because who's going to make you matter is standing on the altar. And the devotees will make you matter. Otherwise you don't matter. Doesn't matter what you do. You can become the richest man in the world. Hiranyakashipu became so rich that he owned the 3 worlds. There wasn't a place a point of a needle could sit that didn't belong to Hiranyakashipu. What happened? He got crushed like a bug between the fingernails of Nrsimhadev. Crushed like a bug. At least none of us think like we're bugs, right? You know, bug spray doesn't work on us so much, right? But the problem is, we're worse than bugs. That's a fact. This is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's teachings. I know it sounds heavy. He was a very heavy person, but he spoke the truth. And the truth will set you free. When you have that humility, then what happens is the third thing happens. We become beware of disunity. Devotees must always remain united. Why? Because from our point of view, what is most important is the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. That is what's most important to us. Nothing else is important at all. There is no second. There's only first. Sometimes devotees say there is a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth and 5 million after them. There is none. There is no second to this one rule. Everything we do should be to please Guru and Krishna. Ask yourself that question. When you woke up in the morning, ask yourself the question, did I wake up to please Guru and Krishna? When you're going to bed, you're going to sleep, ask yourself the question, am I going to sleep to please Guru and Krishna? When you're eating, ask yourself that question. When you're talking, when you're walking, when you are breathing, ask yourself that question. Are you doing it to please Guru and Krishna? When you think like that, when you think, I only came to Krishna consciousness now. This is the first time I got to see the deities, to get to see the devotees, to get to see the temple. Just try to remember the first day we met the devotees, right? The first day we came to the temple. The first day we saw the deities. How did we feel? Wow, this is a great place. Everything's great. Today, how do we feel? That devotee's got a problem. That temple is not so clean. The deities don't look as beautiful as they did yesterday. Hopefully the prasadam will be good today and not too much oil in it and not too much spices. These Indians need to be taught how to cook. Right? That's what happens to us. We become jaded. That's not jade, by the way. We become fallen. We shouldn't be becoming fallen when we come to the temple. We should become risen. So when we have that thought that every day is fresh, every day is new, every day I'm learning, I know nothing, I'm going to learn today. And I'm so happy to meet the devotees because they will help me learn. I'm so happy to meet the deities because they'll bless me and I'll get to see what God looks like. I'm so happy they built a temple in Dallas. If this is the way we think, then there will be unity. There will be no disunity. You will not be finding fault in devotees. Now you might say, but devotees have faults. Don't you have faults? Shouldn't you be picking on your faults first before you pick on somebody else's fault? In any case, if we start picking on faults, what will happen? How many of us go to work and say to the boss, this is what's wrong with your business, this is what's wrong with you, this is what's wrong with your services, this is what's wrong with your product? What do you think is going to happen? A nice paycheck is going to come to you? But that's what we do. When we have this issue with finding fault with others. Always come to the temple thinking, it is my greatest fortune that I have an opportunity to come to the temple. That I came to the temple is so great. It's so good for me and I'm going to be learning so much today. I'm going to be so happy that I'll be ear to ear smiles. In that way, there will always be unity. Because if there is unity, what happens? You're able to do more. You're able to do way more than you can individually. It's been proven again, even in the materialists. When they start any big project, what they do is a few of them get together and start working together. It's never one person alone. Name any big corporation in this world. Any one of them. Microsoft, right? Apple, any one of them. All of them started with at least two people working together and bringing an idea to fruition. Right? So, when we work together, and Prabhupada particularly used the number 5. That's a very good reason why I did that. Not going to go into it. We can talk about it later. If you work with 5 people in you to do something that is going to be good preaching out there, you will notice your preaching will be much more powerful. When people come together, Krishna speaks through groups. He will speak to you. Through the group, he will speak. Alone, you might think, I'm so smart. I'm in the movement now 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, whatever number year we are. No. It is in unity that you find your greatest success. And then you will be able to deal with the diversity that's out there. So how did Prabhupada put all of that together in one word? What did Srila Prabhupada do? He actually put it in this word, he called it cooperation. He said cooperation is bhakti. If we cooperate with one another. What does cooperation mean? I have a smart idea, you have a smart idea, but they're conflicting. I'm saying go this way, you're saying go that way, right? So how do you cooperate? You cooperate by understanding those are two different strategies. They're not conflict, they're strategies. So we'll try both the strategies, right? And see which one works out better. Why not try out the different strategies? Now, after having tried out the strategies, what has worked, you can tell them. We tried the strategy, this one worked better. But the circumstances may have changed, right? So again, the strategy might work. So the idea is we should always understand it is not me who is the doer, it is Krishna who is the one who gets things done. I'm supposed to be the instrument. So stay instrument. Sometimes on my phone I say something, another time on my phone I say the opposite thing, right? Does the phone say, well, last time you said that, I'm not going to say that to the other person now because you said that last time. No, the phone just repeats what I said, right? It just amplifies what I said, carries the message. That is our purpose. We should carry the message of Guru and Krishna, the Acharyas, like that. If we do that, that is going to make us a very powerful movement. And when you become more and more powerful, more and more people will join us. Why do they need to join us? We should have them join us so that they can also get the benefit we got. Oftentimes I ask, how many of you, if I gave you $10 billion today, would give up your Krishna consciousness? Put your hands up. $10 billion, that's not a small amount of money, okay? It's a lot of money. Nobody puts their hand up. Why? Some of you are shy. I'm thinking you'd like to put your hand up, but you think others will think I'm not devotee. But the point is because the experience we're having today is way better than $10 billion, correct? The experience of Krishna consciousness is priceless. There's no price you can put on it, right? All the things we are doing today, the difficulties we're going through, is only because we want to be Krishna conscious. Waking up early in the morning, chanting Hare Krishna, following the regulated principles, dealing with devotees, dealing with non-devotees, right? All can be very challenging at times, right? Your own health, this, that, and the other. Instructions given by the spiritual master. Chastisement given by senior devotees. Right? All that can be very difficult to bear. But why do we bear it? Because the value is greater than the price. Right? You buy a car for $50,000. Why? Because the car is worth more than $50,000 to you. Correct? If it was worth less, you won't put $50,000 on it. We're ready to give our lives. Why? Because Krishna consciousness is more valuable than life. It's true, massive value. Shouldn't we be giving that to others? That is what preaching is all about, right? I got the great benefit. Others should also get the great benefit. That is why we preach. Yes, there will be difficulties. They will ask questions. If you don't know the answer, just be honest and say, I'll find the answer and I'll give it to you. That's okay. All we have to say to people is, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you chant the holy names of God, you'll become the happiest person in the world. We have 250 million people around the world to prove it. I mean, when people sell a product, right? When they sell a service, they do something called giving testimonials, right? What is the greatest number of testimonials any of you have seen in this world? How many testimonials have you seen in a product being sold or a service being offered, and they're asking you to buy the product service, and they give you testimonials at the bottom, right? How many testimonials do they put? The general rule is if you put 3, it's good enough. 5 is great. But you don't have to put more than 5. We have 250 million testimonials we can give. to people around the world. And there are people chanting Hare Krishna and they're not even Hare Krishnas. And they know that it's benefiting them, that they're chanting. In fact, in India, this great movement has started. I don't know if it's a great movement. Prabhupada asked us not to do it, but we're doing it anyway. That's what Indians are like. Put two Indians together, you get three political parties. That's how it works. I'm an Indian, so I can say that, okay? Don't say it if you're not Indian. Indians get very offended. But now they have this thing, they call it bhajan something. What is that called? Bhajan clubbing. Bhajan clubbing, right? So now they sing Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to the latest instrumental music, right? Tunes. And they dance and sing. Boys and girls sing together. And hopefully they'll get married one day. Probably not. But, that's what they're doing with the holy name. That was not the purpose. Prabhupada said, don't make the holy name something that is a musical presentation. It's not a musical presentation. It is your talk with Krishna. It is your relationship with Krishna. It's deep. It's also musical, but it's everything. It's not just musical. Like that, right? But at least they're doing that. At least they realize the holy name has that value, right? Yeah. Yeah, instead of going outside and drinking, because at this bhajan clubbing, right? They don't have liquor. Right? Am I right? They don't have liquor. They have tea and coffee and Coca-Cola, but they don't have, what they call in India, thumbs up, right? But they don't. So that's good. They're walking in the right direction, right? And now we can say, we got even better than you guys. We bring them to a kirtan, right? And kirtans really move people. We're now doing kirtans around the world where thousands of people are joining in the kirtan and truly enjoying the experience and feeling like I came out with some very great spiritual benefit in this program, like that. So this is all Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's blessings. Now we're sitting here because of those blessings. Today he's here. We'll be doing his arti. We'll be worshipping him. So let's all celebrate that nicely. We're actually only 2 minutes away. I thought we were going to be doing an offering here. Sure, it's coming. But anybody have any questions, any concerns, any sharing that you'd like to do, anything you'd like to say about Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur? Please. While we have a few minutes. The third one was beware of disunity. Beware of disunity. Disunity. Make sure that you do not cause disunity. So beware of it. Because it'll cause a lot of harm. Not just to others, but to you also, to me also. If I get into disunity, my Krishna consciousness will get destroyed as well in the process. It's like worse than Brahmastra, but worse than a Narayanastra, let's put it this way. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for the wonderful class. Question was, when you were saying that Prabhupada took risks and he took risk in his preaching and his spreading of Krishna consciousness. So when we're in our own preaching or in our own Krishna consciousness, how do we balance that line between what is a good risk and what is a bad risk? What is appropriate and what is inappropriate?
Very good question. Excellent question. So basically the way we do it is we always do it in the association of devotees. Always stay in the association of devotees. Because the devotees will indicate to you if something is going bad. Right? That's one thing. The second thing is you judge something by its results. Right? So if you see that while you're taking risks, some things are happening that are not good for Krishna consciousness, then you stop doing that. You don't want to do that, right? Whatever might cause harm to another living entity, that is called violence. Any violence to another living entity is not preaching. It is the opposite of preaching, right? Prabhupada said when you preach to somebody, at a minimum they should remain neutral. Hopefully they became positive towards Krishna consciousness, but minimum neutral, but never negative. So whenever you're preaching, avoid doing something that might cause negativity, like that. Does that make sense? Yeah? And so that's another thing that you do. The third is your own feeling in your heart, right? When you're preaching, are you doing it for you, or are you doing it for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna? That is the question. If you're preaching to show somebody I'm a preacher, then unfortunately that is not going to please Guru and Krishna. But if you're preaching to help someone become Krishna conscious and to please Guru and Krishna, then generally speaking your risk is going to be rewarded by them. They're the ones who reward the risk anyway, right? When you do something, who gives the results? Krishna says, you do your duty and leave the results to me. So we will not give you the results. Then you will know this is not good preaching. Not getting results here, right? I'm just wasting time. I'm attracting the wrong type of people. Who will be attracted? People who want to do the wrong thing. You're doing the wrong thing. The ones who do the wrong thing will become attracted. So you will cause a lot of harm to people like that.
We have time?
Yes, go ahead. Just go ahead. One more question.
Bhakti Siddhant Sarasvati Maharaj was a lion guru.
Right.
And what happened that means powerful guru, powerful acharya, after he left, everything was disrumbled and everything except people, the disciples got separated, they had their own mud.
Keep the mic next to you. So
Yeah, what was one probable reason that Acharya was a powerful Acharya, much more powerful than any Acharya.
Right.
And what was the reason that the disciple can't follow his instructions?
It's the same reason we came from the spiritual world, right? It's dissonance. Dissonance means that we are designed, the way our mind is designed is to disobey. The mind will always go to the negative, right? Mind will always go to the negative first. So even after we become devotees, right? So this is an offering that's going to go on. We're going to finish class when the offering is taken, just so you know. And then we will do the Guru Puja, okay? So today is Sunday, so Sunday feast generally goes till the evening. We're not going to go to the evening, but we'll extend the time. So basically, whenever an Acharya leaves behind an instruction, let's put the Acharya aside. Let's take Krishna as an example. Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, correct? Krishna's instructions are most powerful. There cannot be anybody more powerful than Krishna. What happened? People did not follow. Why do they not follow? Because this material world is designed not to follow. So Prabhupada says, be surprised who stays. Do not be surprised who leaves, right? So in the same way, we say, do not be surprised who does not follow. Be surprised who is following. That we should be surprised. How come today we are still following Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, right? There are people who are following Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Now when we talk about how strict we should be, there are some interpretations of the strict. Whether we should be strict spiritually or spiritually and materially. Because sometimes material strictness is also necessary, right? Like making sure you're always there at every Mangalarti, you're always wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 3:30, whatever that designated time is. This, that. You can be very strict like that, right? Always go out and distribute books all day, and in the evening come back and read Bhagavad Gita together, and go to bed together, and share your dhotis, and this, that, and the other. I mean, you can be very strict, right? Like how many devotees were at the beginning of this movement. But many decided that was not the strictness that we want to be focused on. We want to be focused on following the regulated principles, chanting Hare Krishna attentively, preaching out there, right? Going out and preaching like that. And most importantly, staying in the association of devotees while we're doing this, right? So these core principles are the things that we need to do. So would we say that there are devotees who are actually doing that today? You know, would we say there are some devotees doing that? Yes. Right? Yeah, absolutely. Just let me know how much for that. Thank you, Prajit. Thank you very much. So yeah, so basically in that sense, the fact that there are devotees who moved away from the instructions, even partially, right? Partially moved away or fully moved away from that instruction, are examples that we should have so that we don't follow those examples. We need examples of success and failure. If you have only examples of success, you don't know what failure is, right? If you have only examples of failure, you don't know what success is. If you don't have day, you can't have night. You can't understand what night is, right? If you don't have night, you won't understand what day is. So you need contrast. So these contrasts happen to tell us we have a choice. Now, we all know this is Srila Bhakti, this is Lord Chaitanya's 15,001st time he's come to this world, right? Because we just celebrated the 18,000th day of Lord Brahma, and we moved into his second 18,000 days, right? This is the first of the second 18,000 days. First 3,000 days Krishna did not come, Brahma was very confused. Then Krishna came and told him what to do. This, the first time Krishna came was on day 3001 of Brahma. After that, Krishna has come every time in the day of Brahma, and Lord Chaitanya has come every time in the day of Brahma, which means this is his 15,001st visit. We did not go back to Godhead in the other 15,000 visits, correct? Is there any magic to the number 15,001 that we will go back to Godhead? No. If we do not follow properly, if we do not do what it takes, we're not going back to Godhead. Because we're telling Krishna, I'm not really interested. Correct? You see, when, say for example, marriage, let's take the example of marriage because I'm a marriage counselor. But in marriage, you marry someone, right? Does your wife expect that you will consider yourself husband every day or some days? Every day, right? So in the same way, when we become Krishna conscious, we have to be Krishna conscious every day. Right? In fact, they said there are only two rules. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, right? Yeah, thank you. So, Prabhuji, there's a Prabhupada disciple on this side, just so you know. Okay, I'm going to start from the front, bring it to the back. Sorry about that. So, yeah, so basically, the idea is, am I following or not is the question I have to ask myself, right? And then as I'm following, I will get to see people who are following, and I'll get to see people who are not following. Correct? Like that. Does that make sense? In a gross way, it makes sense, yeah. But how is it that, some people don't follow? Is that your question? Or they're great devotee, they met such a great devotee, how is it that being such a great devotee, you're still not following? Yeah. Why do they want to be like Acharya? Yeah, so why do other people want to be the next Acharya? That's natural. No? Everybody wants to be God. What about next Acharya? People want to be God, right? Acharya is not God, right? So if they want to be God, they want to be Acharya as well. You see what I'm saying? That's natural. That's the material world. I am God. Everybody is less than me. Everybody should bow down to me. Right? That's natural. That's natural. Yeah, no, thank you. Somebody had a mic?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, go ahead, Mother.
Haribo. Thank you, Nityananda
Nandini?
Prabhu, for a nice class, your enlivening class. I just, in 1936, in December of 13th December 1936,
Yes.
he wrote a letter to his spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter to his beloved spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhant Sarasvati Thakur.
Yes.
And in that he said, he asked him, here I am, you have brahmachari, sannyasi disciples rendering such direct service, and I am a householder. I cannot live with you. I cannot serve with you, and I don't know how to serve you.
Right.
And then, Bhakti Siddhanta replied that the same instruction that he first gave him, right? He said, I'm glad to receive your letter. I think that you should push our movement in English.
Right.
And then he said, and this will be good for you and to the people who will help you.
Right.
So with all the discord that happened with the Gaudiya Math after Srila Bhakti Siddhanta left, to the point that there were legal battles, everyone wanted to have their leadership and so forth. Srila Prabhupada held on very tightly to that instruction of his spiritual master, even through the many years in household life, many years in business, like 20 years doing business, he held on to that instruction, and ultimately fulfilled that instruction as his spiritual master.
Yes.
At the age of 69, when he boarded the ship all the way to first Boston and then in New York.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a very good point. Here was a person who felt unqualified, right? Prabhupada felt he was unqualified, and yet he was very qualified, right? And yet he felt it wasn't false humility. It was real humility. I mean, when he writes the prayer, Markine Bhagavad Dharma, Markine means America, American Dharma, American Krishna consciousness, you might say. He signs it as the most insignificant beggar. I mean, how many of us consider ourselves beggars, right? We don't consider ourselves beggars. Got some money in the bank account, you got a house, this, that, and the other. You don't think you're a beggar, right? Not only he considered himself a beggar, but most insignificant beggar. That's true humility. So this is the first instruction of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, right? Do not be a hero. Be a speck in the hands of your spiritual master. Prabhupada was that, right? And yet he felt, I'm a speck in your hands, but I can't be near you because I'm not a sannyasi. I'm not a brahmachari. I'm a grihastha. I have to be with my wife and my children and take care of family life. So how can I do that? And then what happens? He gets the topmost instruction, right? Which he made into the Hare Krishna movement. He turned the instruction into the Hare Krishna movement. How many of us got instructions? Every one of us gets instructions, right? Who can say, I never got an instruction? That's what happens in the Hare Krishna movement. You always get instructions. We don't like so many instructions. Our thing is, we're not so much into instructions. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, whose prayer we read, sing every morning, Sangsara Davanala Lidaloka, right? Says, there are three things to become a devotee. First, you have to get an instruction from the spiritual master. The second is, you should ask every Tom, Dick and Harry and his pet dog what that instruction means, so that you understand that instruction so nicely that you have a 360-degree understanding of the instruction. And then the third thing that happens is, you become one with the instruction. Prabhupada was one with his instruction, right? Anybody who met Prabhupada felt, this person seems to love Krishna. This person seems to be talking about Krishna. Everything was about Krishna consciousness, even though he never spoke Krishna consciousness. When he first came to America and he was staying with a family, then across the street there were some neighbors, right? And there was a neighbor that he was talking to across the street, and she had some teeth problems, some tooth problems, you know. So they're both discussing tooth problems. Prabhupada was discussing how he had some bad teeth, and she was discussing how she had some bad teeth. And she said there was just something different about him, you know. He never spoke about anything else. He just spoke about bad teeth. How to take care of bad teeth, what to do. This. I do this, what do you do? He's learning from her, she's learning from him. Years later, when she found out that this person was like the Pope of a religious movement, you know, how the Pope is the leader, right, of the Catholics. She said, you know, how I felt in my heart was that I was speaking to someone of God. That some angel of God was speaking to me. So Prabhupada exuded Krishna consciousness so nicely, right? Because he became one with the instruction. And how long did it take to follow the instruction? 40 years, right? 40 years he meditated on it, worked on it, spoke to people, wrote books, this, that, and the other. And then Krishna said, now I'll send you the ticket to America. And sent Mother Sumati Morarji, and she gave the ticket. And he came to America. And by the way, it was a very difficult trip. Very difficult trip. You have to get old to understand what it means. It was difficult. He really had a rough time on that boat coming to America. He had 2 heart attacks. Would have been a 3rd heart attack, except that Krishna came and put his hands on his chest. Otherwise, he would. And he said, if the 3rd one had happened, I was gone. That's how crummy he felt on that trip to America. So it wasn't fun coming to America to preach, you know. Many of us, we preach because it's fun to preach, right? Go out, do Harinam, distribute books. In some ways, a little bit of fun in that, right? It's not like, wow, this is going to kill me if I go out there. For him, it was going to kill him coming to America. So that tells us that how much he became one with the instruction of his spiritual master. He considered it his life. And we aspire for that. I know it's not easy to do that, but at least we can hope for it. We can aspire for it. If we aspire for it, Krishna will give us. There's a very nice part in the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam where Krishna says, when you start thinking about serving me in a certain way, I already start experiencing it. So like, imagine you think to yourself, I'm going to make the best sweet rice for Krishna. Krishna already starts tasting the best sweet rice that you made. And you haven't even made it yet. And he's already tasting it. How nice Krishna is, right? Imagine you had a boss and he told you, I'll pay you $20,000 a month. And you thought about going to work and you already got a check for $20,000. You even thought about it. That would be a nice boss, right? I think everybody would like to work for that boss. That's a great boss, man. I'll think about it, then I'll go to the Hare Krishna movement, Hare Krishna temple and chant all day. I get my $20,000 check. That's all I needed, right? I'm really not going to work for any other purpose. I really need the check. That's why I'm going, right? So, this is Krishna. He loves us so much. You give him an excuse and he's already blessing you. Where do you find a person like that? Where do we find a person like that? I mean, Putana came to poison him, right? And what happens? Gives her the position of mother in the spiritual world, not the material world. In the spiritual, means eternally mother. For trying to kill him, she got the benefit because she offered some milk. And he just saw the good and gave the benefit based on that. Krishna is amazing. It's just way beyond amazing. This is the value of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's preaching. This is what he said to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada heard it, and then he came and told us. And now we're supposed to be hearing this message. This is the parampara we're in. Thank you very much for that. Anybody else has something they'd like to say or ask, or you're concerned with?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
One other point, when you were mentioning about women and how you, when you were the temple president, you had, women on the board and so forth, and they said no. Somebody came and visited and said it was going to be a disaster, but it turned out the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah, it turned out the opposite. Yes.
Opposite.
Yes.
So I was listening to a lecture of our Guru Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and he was recalling about the ladies in Dwarka when Krishna appeared, chanting such exalted prayers. And he mentioned that, the men would go to Gurukula, but the women wouldn't. But they were so qualified because the advanced sages would come and they would hear.
Yes.
And so highly qualified, he mentioned.
Yes. Prabhupada's only interest was how can the whole world come to know about Krishna consciousness. Half the population is not promoting it. It makes it harder, right? Can happen, but it makes it harder. At the peak of my temple presidency, 70% of the services done at this temple were done by women. I don't know what that number is today. So, that's proof, right? 70% of the services. That's a lot of service. That's more than 50%. That's double what the men were doing. Good, thank you. That's a good point. Anybody else like to ask anything, say anything? You're all satisfied? You're all ready for a great Guru Puja and a nice feast after that? Some of our best devotees have actually made today's feast. So I'm sure we're all going to enjoy having a nice feast as well, which is why most of us come to the temple anyway. Not really to hear, but to have a nice feast. So, but hearing is also necessary. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with Kirtan, and when the offering is taken, then we'll start with Srila Prabhupada's Guru Puja. Jai Srila Bhakti Siddhant Sarasvati Goswami Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakapaturubhascha kripasindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhya Vaishnavebhya namo namah. Anantakoti Vaishnava Brinda ki jai.